With over $11 billion in new developments and 150 people moving to Tampa, Florida every day, Tampa is still one of the hottest home markets in the entire country. But what's it really like living here? If you're thinking of moving to Tampa, Florida, how do you know you're not making the worst mistake of your life? Well, today, I'll be telling you all about the pros and cons that come with living here. But I want you to know right off the bat that this is going to be different from anything else you'll find online, all coming from a Tampa native and a top local realtor who's helped hundreds of families relocate here. And I'm not just covering the usual stuff. I'm diving into things that lots of people don't mention because, well, as locals, we're just so used to them, but that can definitely catch an outsider's eye. And if you stick around, you'll see exactly why some people are regretting their move here, while others, they're calling it the best decision they've ever had. Stay tuned. Today, you are getting the full rundown of the good, the bad, and the ugly of living in Tampa, and we're not wasting any time. So before we jump into that, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss out on any local content and Tampa news. And for all your Tampa real estate needs, don't forget to save this contact info and give my team a call because we want to be your Tampa real estate team of choice. Now, let me kick things off with something that perfectly shows how Tampa is evolving, and I'm talking about our food scene. And trust me, by the end of this section, you'll understand why we're not just about Cuban sandwiches anymore, even though I will 100% be telling you exactly where to get the best one in just a minute. So let's get one thing straight. If you're coming in from somewhere like New York or San Francisco, you're not gonna be blown away. Tampa is still in the process of becoming a food destination, and while it's not hugely recognized just yet, we still have tons of amazing places that are so worth coming here for. And the best part, a lot of these still count as hidden and local gems, which means there's a ton of places out there covering a huge range of budgets. Oh, and let me share something exciting. We are up to 5 Michelin star restaurants and 30 total on the Michelin Guide as of 2024's recent rankings. Perfect for those of you foodies that want a roadmap to try some of the best eats the city offers. In Tampa, you've got creative fusion spots like Eulalie, high-end steakhouses like Burns, and listen, I promise to share a local secret, so if you want the best Cuban sandwich of your life, you absolutely need to try La Segunda Bakery. Here in Tampa, the restaurant scene has gotten so popular that you actually need reservations now at places that never really required them before. So while that's definitely a con for a lot of people, it just goes on to show how much we're growing. But since we're building such a big food scene, is our downtown adapting to that too? Well, before I get into the biggest pro out there, let me keep things real about something. So I won't deny it, our downtown area has had some challenges. Until recently, our nightlife and walkability weren't anything to write home about, and anyone who had ever been to Tampa knew that. But here's where it gets interesting. Water Street is completely transforming things with over $3.5 billion in development. This kind of ties back to that growing food scene because I'm talking about a place that's home to over 60 local food vendors, not to mention how it's been contributing to the whole arts and entertainment scene. Water Street in itself is kind of becoming our downtown, and what's so great about this development is that there are still tons of new places to look forward to and will be opening their doors right there. Now, all in all, downtown Tampa still has a way to go before we can say it's a full-blown, thriving downtown, but for now it's leaps and bounds better than it was, but still has some sore spots like transportation issues helping us get around, connectivity of popular areas, etc., but we will address that coming up. Now, before I move on to one of the most important pros you'll hear me talk about, there's still another downtown area I'd like to highlight to kind of combat the idea that Tampa Bay has no downtown at all. Downtown St. Pete. It has sort of led the way with tons of iconic attractions downtown like the Dali Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts, and of course, all the events and concerts over at the Mahaffey Theater. Not to mention Vinoy Park, or the dozens of restaurants within the area. So all in all, if you want to get that downtown feel, Tampa Bay now has 2 choices, Tampa and St. Pete, and we are starting to offer that cosmopolitan feel our metro has never truly had. And now that I mentioned new developments, this next pro is huge, and it's transforming Tampa in ways you wouldn't believe. Did you know that we're seeing over $11 billion in new projects? And listen, this isn't just about like buildings. We're becoming Florida's unofficial tech hub, especially in cybersecurity. But wait until you hear about the jobs this is bringing. The Tampa Bay area ranked number 8 as an economic hotspot and 11th in the fastest growing cities in America. Let me break down what's actually happening. Major defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Honeywell are expanding here. Healthcare systems like Baycare, Advent Health, and Tampa General are growing like crazy. And don't even get me started on the massive Angeline project in Land O'Lakes. We're talking about 10,000 new jobs in only one development. And here's something that might shock you. Tampa has actually attracted more higher income earners, over $200,000, than any other state in the country. There are just so many opportunities in a growing area like Tampa, but it's true that growth also brings along some new cons that could worry some of you folks out there, because I know there are some rumbles about them locally. I'll be completely honest about it, and this might be the deal breaker for some of you. While our growth is incredible, it comes with some real challenges. Our streets are now busier than ever. There are hundreds of people coming in town every day. On one hand, that's great, and I love seeing it. But on the other hand, I think it's important for you to know that it does lead to a bit of a chaotic lifestyle. Let me give you some real drive times that locals know about. Tampa International to Clearwater Beach, what should be 31 minutes can stretch to 50 during peak times. Downtown to St. Pete, 25 minutes can easily become 45 to 50. And Wesley Chapel, well, you better grab a podcast, because that 30-minute drive can hit over an hour during rush hour. There's this running joke about not wanting to go over the bridge. Well, we've got 3 main bridges, and between 3 and 7 p.m., they basically can become parking lots. And good luck if someone asks you to pick them up at the airport at 5:30 p.m. You better grab an Uber. However, on the bright side, there are plans to improve transportation in Tampa. The planned expansion of the Brightline high-speed rail to Tampa from Orlando and Miami will connect Florida's major cities at 100+ miles an hour. And there's multiple transportation options being developed through 2027 that will include the Tico Line streetcars being modernized with 10 new vehicles and will run every 10 minutes during the weekdays. There's the new 8-lane Howard Franklin Bridge that will open soon with dedicated express lanes and a bicycle pedestrian path. Now, the notorious malfunction junction, which is I-275 to I-4 interchange, is being completely rebuilt by 2027, while the West Shore interchange reconstruction begins in early 2025. Tampa International Airport is adding Airside D, a $780 million terminal with 16 new gates and state-of-the-art facilities scheduled for 2027 completion. In addition to this, the Tampa Moves Plan has a $2 billion initiative through 2050 aiming to improve neighborhood connectivity, fill 1,300 miles of sidewalk gaps, and repave 40% of poor condition roadways, while also making Route 1 on the Hart bus line free for a year starting in early 2025. While traffic has become a very real con in 2025, I actually have another pro in store for you, and while it's something you probably already know, I promise there'll be a whole new spin to it that I'm sure you didn't see coming. So let me tell you something about our weather that most people don't talk about. Sure, everybody knows about our sunshine, but here's what's really interesting. Most people who move here from up north tell me they've stopped needing vitamin D supplements altogether, and it's completely changed their mood and energy levels. That's all because we basically have 2 seasons. We have indoor season and we have outdoor season. During winter months, we're talking about 70 degrees from November all the way through April, and May hits about 80 degrees, which to me is the perfect mild winter and spring. Meanwhile, during July, August, and September, those 90-degree temperatures mean most people do their outdoor activities early in the morning or after sunset, and this is the season that I take my kids to enjoy indoor things like museums, etc. Now, would I trade 3 months of sweating for 6 months of gray, dreary snow? Not a chance. I'll change clothes twice a day and take extra showers, sometimes even dip in the pool, because that counts also. And I feel like we can't talk about the weather without mentioning the elephant in the room. Yes, Florida is famous for its hurricanes, and yes, this past year we've just experienced 2 very close calls, but we have always been well prepared for them, as you probably already know from my other videos. But I do think it's important to relate this to something that you should understand before you decide to make the move to Tampa. And I'm talking about insurance costs here. And let me give you some very real numbers. While a 1970s home around 2,700 square feet could cost about $5,000 yearly to insure, that same house in new construction can be insured for only about $90 monthly. So there are always tips and tricks to alleviate some of the pain there. We're actually starting to see insurance companies return back to Florida, and some locals have seen their premiums drop by 20 to 25%. I know I have, and if you're experiencing otherwise, please reach out to me and I can share some pretty good contacts with you. But leaving all that aside, I did mention new construction and older homes a little while ago, and now that those styles are on the table, I need to be straight with you about something that catches a lot of people off guard. So listen, While the architecture can be beautiful, it's pretty limited in style. You'll only be finding mostly modern or suburb-like housing outside of our historic districts. And while a lot of people are happy with that, many others are looking for something with a little bit more flair or variation in designs. Tampa's just not that. The diversity in styles is a bit lacking around here, unless you're looking through more niche neighborhoods like Seminole Heights or in the higher end areas like South Tampa, where things can feel a little bit more creative. But that's not even the biggest challenge. It's our city planning and how everything is laid out. Let me give you a real example that perfectly shows what I mean. There's only one Costco in all of Pinellas County. Living in South St. Pete and need to make a Costco run? Well, hope you've got 35 to 45 minutes to make the trek to Clearwater. And forget about quick trips to specialty stores. Whole Foods and Trader Joe's are just as spread out. Here's what locals know that most people don't realize until they move here. When someone tells you Tampa is close to the beach, what they really mean is pack a lunch. It's gonna be a full day trip. But while the architecture could feel a little limited for some people and things a bit spread out at times, there's one last pro that completely balances things out. Now, before I reveal exactly what that is though, I'd love to know what you think about all of this. Do any of these pros outweigh the cons, or is Tampa a bust for you? Well, let me know down in the comments below. And here's something most people don't realize about Tampa until they live here. We are all about the outdoors. And while we might not have mountains or extensive forests, we're completely transforming how people enjoy the outdoors. The Tampa Riverwalk was actually ranked number 2 for America's top river walks by USA Today, but that's just the beginning. We're expanding it to connect multiple neighborhoods and over 12 miles of attractions. Everything will be so well connected, which means it's easy to get to parks or visit the waterfront. Being able to enjoy the outdoors is just such an important part of the experience. What makes Tampa special is that we pretty much have endless ways to enjoy being outside, which is definitely useful since the nice weather means we can enjoy things all year long. So what are some of the outdoor attractions that locals can't get enough of? Well, Clearwater Beach is regularly ranked America's best, but I have to mention St. Pete Beach because it's one of my favorites. And if you can't choose a favorite, you get 35 miles of white sugar sand beaches in Pinellas County to choose from. Tampa Bay loves spring training baseball with the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Phillies. Ultimately, the year-round sunshine and warm weather means no more shoveling snow. You have beaches within reach nearly anywhere you live, and with access to the water, wildlife, and way more every day. Living in Tampa requires careful consideration of natural disasters and insurance challenges. The devastating impacts of Hurricane Helene and Milton in 2024 resulted in over 438,000 combined claims, totaling more than $5.2 billion in insured losses. Insurance costs vary dramatically based on location and property characteristics. So for the same size home, it can range from $1,300 annually for those newer inland homes to over $8,000 for older coastal properties. Flood insurance presents additional complexity and expense, with Tampa's average rate at $1,227 annually through the National Flood Insurance Program. It's important to understand flood insurance as there are low risk and high risk factors which will ultimately be reflected in the overall price of the policy. Now, recent events have exposed significant vulnerabilities. In fact, fewer than 25% of residents in storm-affected areas had flood insurance, and many faced catastrophic losses due to water damage. The situation is evolving with new requirements. By 2027, Citizens Property Insurance Corp will require flood coverage for all customers. For potential homeowners, due diligence is crucial. Just understanding flood zones, evacuation zones, property elevation, construction type, so block versus wood, and carrying appropriate insurance coverage are essential considerations for living in the Tampa area, and my team can help you understand it all. While these hurricanes were devastating, it's important to remember our remarkable track record regarding direct hurricane hits. Tampa has only experienced 2 devastating direct hits from major hurricanes in the past 176 years. The last direct hit by a major hurricane was in October 1921, over a century ago. Now, I know many will consider the recent hurricanes rough, and they were bad for locals that were affected, but it was just that. Only a very small percentage were actually affected. For over 95% of the residents, we simply had power outage and debris cleanup. What might surprise you is the probability of Tampa experiencing a direct hit in any given year is only about 1% and is extremely low compared to many other cities in Florida. From here, I'm rolling right into another negative with the cost of living on the rise, but I want to wrap up on a positive note, and I think it will help bring things full circle for you. Tampa's affordability crisis presents significant challenges, with the median home price reaching $406,000 in November of 2024 and requiring an annual income of $114,000 for typical homeownership, a dramatic increase from $72,000 needed in 2020. Even starter homes require an income of $82,000, which exceeds Tampa's median household income of $75,000. This disparity has led to Tampa Bay households having the highest debt-to-income ratio amongst comparable regions, with 52% of new mortgages going to high-income buyers and just 2% to very low-income earners. However, these challenges are balanced by remarkable opportunities. Tampa ranked 8th amongst economic growth hotspots and leads the nation in internal migration. Property values have soared 126% from 2015 to 2023, benefiting existing homeowners and investors. The market shows signs of becoming more accessible, and even with these increases, Tampa maintains relative affordability compared to other major metros around the country. This combination of growth and cooling market trends shows Tampa is transitioning from a period of rapid price escalation to a more sustainable growth pattern, potentially creating opportunities for both newcomers and longtime residents. With the increase in the cost of living in Tampa, the potential risks of hurricanes, and the traffic woes, this next pro pretty much sums things up for those choosing to live in Tampa. There's no question that many things have changed over the last few years, but one thing that remains constant is that Tampa ranks amongst the top cities for quality of life. Tampa, Florida effortlessly blends a work, live, play model, offering an exceptional quality of life that makes it a standout destination for residents. Known for its year-round sunshine, vibrant culture, and endless activities, Tampa provides a lifestyle where work-life balance feels attainable. Whether it's strolling along the Riverwalk, catching a professional sports game, or savoring the city's diverse food scene, there's always something to explore. Tampa's relatively lower cost of living compared to other major metros, combined with no state income tax, allows residents to enjoy the perks of urban living without completely breaking the bank. From top-tier healthcare and educational institutions to a booming job market in industries like IT and healthcare, Tampa offers opportunities for personal and professional growth while maintaining its laid-back coastal vibes. What truly sets Tampa apart is its unique combination of cultural richness and modern amenities. Historic Ybor City showcases the city's Cuban roots, while nearby beaches and parks provide easy access to nature. With a growing reputation as a foodie haven, including Michelin-starred restaurants and a packed calendar of festivals and events, Tampa is as dynamic as it is welcoming. And in the economic benefits and sunny weather, it's easy to see why so many are swapping snow shovels for flip-flops and calling Tampa home. So whether you're raising a family, starting a career, or seeking a fresh chapter, Tampa makes every day feel like a little slice of paradise. All in all, Tampa's future is changing faster than ever. The high-speed Bright Line train connecting us to Orlando and Miami, Water Street's continued expansion, and tons of other developments show just how much growth we're experiencing. And here's my honest advice. There is never a perfect time to buy a home, move to a new city, or start a new job. But from my experience, perfect timing all boils down to what's best for you and your family. If things are starting to line up for you and you're ready to call Tampa home or have questions about moving here, my team and I would love to help you find your perfect place. Just reach out using the contact info on the screen or click the link in the description below. Before you go, if you want to see exactly which Tampa neighborhoods might be right for you, check out this playlist all about Tampa's neighborhoods. It's right here on the screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.